Take 12. Alright, hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Whatever those people say. That's awful. I sound like the worst fucking millennial you've ever watched. So basically, I've been gone for quite a while. And now I'm just gonna say I'm in over and over again, and it's gonna be absolutely insufferable. So, I've been gone for a while. I am now 21 years of age. I can legally buy drinks, which is super exciting. I had a great birthday. I had a great time. I've been doing so much exciting, fun stuff. And I've been working and doing whatever. Started watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's been great. And I started playing Animal Crossing on my Nintendo Switch again. I started making a few more TikToks here and there. And that's about it. So I guess the big news that everyone's been waiting for. I found out on Mother's Day that I was pregnant. I had been a few days late with my period, and we were trying, so I knew I had to take a test, and I did, and there was a very faint line. I talked to some of my friends. They told me to, try some different tests, and I did, and I got more solid lines as the days went on, and I got a digital test that said pregnant, straight up, and I was pregnant. I was incredibly excited. I told a lot of my friends right away, a couple of my cousins, and that was it, because I wanted to keep things relatively, keep it relatively quiet until I knew how everything was, until I knew how far along I was, all that stuff. I got all the apps. I got Baby Center, I got Pregnancy Plus, I got What to Expect. I set up accounts on everything. I was taking ancient Chinese gender predictors. I was calculating my due date, which was supposed to be January 16th of 2026. And I was so excited. I started experiencing really bad pain in my lower back. So I'm very grateful that one of my girlfriends had a pregnancy pillow that she didn't really use, and she was going to get rid of it anyway, so she gave it to me, and I started sleeping pretty good. And then I started having some cramps, which, after a lot of talking and consulting with Dr. Google, calmed myself down and decided it was just my uterus expanding, and that was it. I told my dad and my stepmom and my brother at about 6 weeks, I think. I did a little surprise with them. I got my brother a shirt that said, you're gonna be an uncle, that kind of thing. And I made little crafts that had giraffes. Because for whatever reason, I was just really drawn to the ideas of giraffes. So I had gone to Goodwill, and I found a bunch of giraffes that, were able to make little crafts for them. That doesn't even make any sense. I found little, wooden giraffe statue things, and I bought them for really cheap because I was really broke, and I decorated them and took them to surprise my family. And I spoke with my dad, and he actually told me that, he told me some fun little stories about when my mom was pregnant, because that's something that my mom has never talked about with me, because my mom has told me not to get pregnant until I'm 40. And she's been telling me that since I was in middle school. So I was obviously apprehensive to tell her. At the mid to end of the 7-week mark in my pregnancy, I started experiencing some light spotting. And after consulting Dr. Google and all of the articles I could find on my apps and talking to all of my friends that already have children, came to the conclusion that light spotting was normal. And the next day, which was a Friday, which was the day I officially turned 7 weeks, the spotting turned a lot heavier. It was still lighter than a period, and I wasn't saturating any pads. If I had collected all the blood in the same pad throughout the day, it still wouldn't have been enough to saturate a normal size pad, let alone within an hour. So I wasn't bleeding that much. Then, Friday came, and it was still bleeding, and it was whatever. And I thought it was normal. I thought it was fine, because it wasn't so much blood, and I wasn't having such intense cramping that I was bent over, like in pain, crying, screaming. It wasn't much worse than period cramps. Then the weekend came, and I started to experience some more cramping. So I did what I thought I should do, and I called my on-call OB through the office, and she told me that I was gonna be fine, and that it was okay, and because I wasn't, bleeding an absolute crazy amount, it was most likely okay. Then later on, I believe Saturday night, I started passing blood clots. And I started passing rather large blood clots, which were abnormal for me. Especially because of how they looked. They had a grayish, whitish tissue type thing. There were only 2 of them like that, and they happened a day apart. But they were the size of a quarter, at least. I called again, and she told me that I was probably having a miscarriage, and that there was really nothing I could do. Then the next day was a Sunday. I was still bleeding. I was still in pain. I was really, really tired. And I slept all day. I woke up and I went to bed. I woke up still exhausted. I slept on the couch. I slept downstairs on the chair. I just could not keep myself awake. And Monday, I went to work, and by the time Monday evening came around, I called again and actually got to speak to a nurse, and she told me that I was most likely miscarrying and that she was going to talk to my doctor and just kind of see what next steps would be. I was home alone at that time and absolutely started sobbing. And I haven't cried like that in a very, very long time. Like a very long time. I haven't cried like that. Then I waited till my boyfriend got home, and we went to urgent care and sat in the waiting room for about 2 hours before they finally took us back. I got fluids through an IV. I still have a bruise on my arm. It's green now, which is pretty cool, I guess. And I got blood work done. I had been getting blood work done throughout the week. So, one of the on-call OBs that I had spoke to ordered blood work for me. And I was supposed to be 7 weeks pregnant. So my HCG levels was supposed to be somewhere in the 10,000s, I think, or the 100,000s even. I'm not 100% sure. My level was 28, which was a lot lower than it should have been. And I got those results from Monday morning. I got them Monday afternoon. That was the day I went to the ER. They tested my levels later in the ER, and that level came back as 22. So it was dropping, and it was dropping steadily. A few days after that, I went and got it tested again, and went down to 5. While I was at the emergency room, they did an ultrasound and a transvaginal ultrasound and confirmed that there was nothing left in my uterus. There was just absolutely nothing left. So I had most likely passed everything between Saturday and Sunday. And the baby was approximately the size of a small blueberry or a honeybee. There's an Enderman right there. And I really didn't know what to do exactly. Because how do you grieve for a little baby that you didn't even get to see a picture of? Because I didn't get an ultrasound when the baby was there because it was still too small. I don't know if it was going to be a boy or a girl. Oh my god. This is devastating. What an ass. I'm trying to talk about my dead baby, and they're just trying to kill me. I want to give special shout out to the nurse I had at the ER. I have absolutely no idea what her name was. She told me, and I just don't remember it at all. I was so just out of it, and it's not because I was doped up on anything. All they were giving me were fluids. But I felt out of it. She was able to make me laugh. She smiled with me. She laughed at my dead baby jokes. And she didn't make me feel weird or strange at all in any way. And that was the first time that I felt that from a lady who wasn't my friend or family during that time. I really needed that, because I had spent all weekend being dismissed by the on-call doctors through my provider, because they really they told me I was fine and it was okay. Then they said I was probably miscarrying and that there was really nothing that anyone could do. I'm glad I went to the ER anyway, because if I hadn't gone to the ER, I would really still be waiting. I would have been waiting until Friday to find out if I was still actively carrying a baby or not. So I don't regret going to the ER. I don't regret being off work for 6 days. I don't, because I got an ER note, a doctor's note from the ER, that covered me for 2 days, and I had a scheduled vacation of 2 days, and I didn't pick up extra shifts. So I have reason to have been out. Even more so because my whole world kind of came crashing apart. It's now Sunday. I have to go back to work tomorrow. I haven't really left the house very much. I went out to eat with my boyfriend the other night and, had a panic attack. Cried and freaked out at the restaurant. I took my dog to the vet by myself, which was the first time that I had really been anywhere. But the other day, when I went to go get blood work, I went to the Dollar Tree and I decided to do some crafting. There is our cave. Beautiful. Oh wow, we're going down there. We gotta make sure we have everything though. So we'll have to set up a little hut and then do some hunting, I think. And get a bunch of food, which will be good. I don't even really remember what I was talking about, to be honest. And that's how I've been. That is so accurate depiction of how I've been. I don't even remember what I've been talking about this whole time. And that's just really sad, because I went from having that kind of brain fog, pregnancy brain type thing, I was forgetting what I was doing and just little things like that. Even though I was very early on, I was having symptoms. I was having very intense cravings, and I would get really hungry. And once I found out that the baby wasn't there anymore, I've been having to force myself to eat. Because I have absolutely no appetite. I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. And that's just really kind of sad. Because you go from wanting to feed this little thing inside you to just not wanting to eat anything at all. Back to what I was saying. I just kind of don't remember things now. Not because I'm pregnant and have pregnancy brain, but because I think I'm so deep into grieving that there's just so much that I don't care, almost, if that makes sense. And that's just something that's really sad. And a lot of it is really sad, because what do you mean that there was a whole baby growing inside me and now it's just gone? And there's nothing that I could have done about it. There was nothing that could have been done to prevent it. And now I'm just supposed to go back to living life like normal. And you don't talk about having a miscarriage because it makes other people uncomfortable. I didn't tell a lot of people that I was pregnant so early because I was scared I was going to have a miscarriage, and I didn't want to have to pull back on it and make people uncomfortable. I didn't want to make other people uncomfortable with what I was going through. And it's really, really upsetting. It really is. This feels so jumbled. I don't even know if I want to post this. I don't know if anyone's going to watch it. But it'll be okay, because I need to post something, because maybe it'll help someone else. I have been absolutely attached to my boyfriend at the hip. I get really lonely even if he just gets up to go to the bathroom. And I've been really clingy before, but nothing like quite like that. I always have a cat or a dog on my lap. I'm always just kind of, I have to be with someone, you know? Like the other night, last night actually, my boyfriend and I watched 4 movies. We watched the Hell House LLC series. If you call it a series, I think it's a series. We watched all of those, and they were actually all filmed. Oh my god. That was really kind of scary. But all of those movies were actually filmed somewhere that I've been before. Well, I haven't been exactly where they were filmed, but I've been in a place nearby where they were filmed. And I hope that I can go to the actual attraction for Halloween this year. I think that would be exciting. I just had to have a sip of my drink. I've been really out of it, though. I can't even lie. I lose my train of thought really fast. But like I said, we watched movies over and over and over again. Not over and over again. We watched 4 movies yesterday, all in a row. Just with breaks to go to the bathroom and get drinks and get dinner. And then he wanted to go upstairs and play games, which is like absolutely understandable. I think I managed to sit at my computer desk for like 15 minutes by myself before I just couldn't take being by myself anymore. So I went into the room where his computer is with a pillow, and I laid on the floor and played my game on my Switch. Not because I like actively needed his attention, because I didn't want to talk to him or anything. I didn't want to like sit right next to him and cuddle or anything. I just wanted to not be in a room by myself. Because a week ago, I wasn't by myself. It was me and my baby. Me and our baby. And now, when I'm in a room, it's just me. And I didn't want to be feeling that. So when I had gone to the Dollar Tree, I got 3 picture frames, like just plain old picture frames. I got 3 of them. And then with those picture frames, I got, I didn't really get anything else actually, because I had a bunch of stuff at home. But what I had done was I took the picture frames when I got home and I glued them all together. And then I took my pregnancy test and I taped them up, and I used scrapbooking pages that I had, and I used tape that I had from my scrapbooking stuff. What is this gold over here? Oh, look, there's another portal. I wish I would have written down my coordinates, but that's okay, I know where I was. I put it all together then, and now I have a little shadow box to remember my little honeybee, because I didn't get a picture. I didn't get an ultrasound when the baby was still there. We did start thinking about trying again, because we were trying. It was planned. And it's just really sad. It's really sad when you want it so bad. Because I can't think of anything else that I know 100% that I want for my life. I don't know what I want to do for a job. Even though I went to school, I didn't finish going to school. I only have my associate's degree. And I've always felt like I have to do more and more and more and more and more. But the only thing that I've ever 100% known that I want to do with my life is to be a mom. Like, you don't even have any idea how serious I took taking care of my babies, my baby dolls. I grew up going to a babysitter. I was there most days during the summer. I was there every day during the school year, before school and after school, until my parents were off work and would come pick me up. And there were sometimes little babies that would be there. And because I was I was the only girl my age that was there. And because of that, like, the other girls were either 4 years older or 6 years younger. So it was really just kind of wasn't unusual for me to follow my babysitter around with my baby dolls and take care of my baby dolls as she took care of the other babies that were there. So when she was feeding the babies, I was feeding my baby dolls. When she was changing the real babies' diapers, I was changing my baby dolls' diapers. Even when I had one of those babies that if you would actually, like, give it real water, it would pee it out. And my babysitter would take the diapers and hang them up on a little clothesline so they would dry, so I would have clean diapers to put back on the babies. And I took them for walks, and I packed a diaper bag, and I've always wanted it. And I know that I was very, very early. I was very, very so far along. But in the grand scheme of things, like, I would have had 33 weeks left. But 33 seems like really small number because of how fast the 3 weeks that I knew about the baby went. I found out at 4 weeks, and then the baby just didn't exist anymore by the time 7 weeks came, you know? And it's just really sad because I'm watching my other friends have their babies. And I know some people that are pregnant again, and we were supposed to be pregnant together. And it's really hard to be happy for other people when, you were happy for yourself too, and then something happened and you're just not anymore. I had seen 2 double rainbows 2 days in a row. And I think I just kind of knew, like, maybe it's that maternal instinct or whatever. But I think I knew from when I first found out I was pregnant that this pregnancy wasn't gonna make it all the way. I think I just kind of knew it. Yeah. sorry for kind of like a bummer video and that I didn't get all the way into that cave yet. But that's where we'll go next time. Okay? Thanks for listening.